finance, entertainment, gaming, and everything in between. I'm your host, P.O., here with my co-host, Nifty Nick, the funniest man in the business, Easy Eats Bodega, the host of GM Market Talk, the founder of Bodogos, soon to hit a blockchain near you, Signal, the host of Artist Spotlight, a new segment, a new vertical that we're really excited about. Love getting Signal's takes, always very analytical, very sophisticated when it comes to the NFT market. And then last but not least, we have Bunny. Bunny, your bio just says, what do you call a sick alligator? You just wanted... You just wanted to get that joke out there for the world? Well, you made him happy now. Got to shout out our producer, Clemente. Clemente, how you doing this morning, amigo?
I'm good. I can't hear anything in the live stream or the Twitter space, but we'll get that sorted. But it's good to be here.
Good to hear.
You're on the wrong mic, Pia, by the way.
Yeah, I can't hear it either. I didn't hear Bunny. Your mic sounds echoey. So
all right.
Can't hear it either.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? But we're back.
There we go.
Good now. Clemente, you hear stuff now? There we go. Don't know how that happened. Literally went out of my way to make that not happen, but it still happened. It is what it is. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. If it's your first time listening, we run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern to 10:15 a.m. Eastern each and every week, Monday through Friday. Like I said, Nick, how you doing this morning, amigo?
I got 9 hours of sleep last night.
Woo!
It was nice. I fell asleep at like 9 on my couch. I was watching, I'm blanking on the name, the documentary about the Renault CEO, who was also the Nissan CEO. And then he then Japan just like jailed him. I don't know. It was a crazy documentary. I didn't get to finish it. I'm gonna have to watch the end of it, but it's a good documentary. I fell asleep to it and I got 9 hours of sleep. I realized that a late day coffee was really messing up my flow. Don't recommend it.
You were having late day coffee.
I was having a second cup of coffee in the day. Okay, that's what was going on in my life. So I'd have a second cup, and that second cup was really disrupting just my overall sleep cycle. And so last night, my body was just like, "Yo, playa, you can't keep doing that, man."
All right.
So I had 9 hours. I mean, I didn't even know. I woke up first at like 6, feeling all comfy and like I had like great sleep. And then I was just like, I'll grab another hour. Take another hour, why don't you?
Well, that's great. I mean, you seem like you're in a good mood. I'll take it.
It felt good.
Very nice. We're joined by Spencer also. Welcome to the show, Spencer. Spencer representing Spencer Ventures Institutional Capital in the NFT space. Love having Spencer on the show. We're going to get into it. We're going to do our daily question. Oh, and just to give you guys an intro, today we're going to discuss Veecon. We're going to discuss a surprising and controversial airdrop from Porsche and get a state-of-the-art market recap from Node. So that'll be an interesting segment later in the show. The question of the day today is just going to be, what is your favorite crypto token? Okay, like what's your favorite one, right?
I switched it to NFT. What,
okay.
To what do you think? Which NFT do you think has the most upside?
Okay.
That you hold. This is your opportunity to shill. Well, if you don't own it, I feel like if you don't hold it, then it's misleading, right? Like if you really think it has maximum upside, why wouldn't you own it? Unless it's something that's over, an insane amount of money that you can't like afford. That to me seems like a reasonable.
Yeah, Nick, not everyone has punk privilege like you do.
I understand that, dude. I'm looking. Let me tell you, I'm looking at my portfolio exceptionally close at the moment. But yeah, what would be the biggest one that you have? I'll tell you mine, and it's pretty biased because I'm rapidly approaching. I'm going to become the biggest holder of portals, which is our own project.
Let's go.
Now, I don't know how I'm going to ever be able to sell this. What am I allowed to? I don't even know. Is all my money locked up? But in terms of multiple, I'm like, I don't know anything else that I think can, do a 4x or something like that. At least, like what else? I don't know. That's what I'm sort of aiming for nowadays. Is what things can I buy that give me a 3 or 4x? Because the ROI on that's pretty good. So that's
good
what
target.
I'm looking at.
So we got a lot of.
How about you guys?
Well, we got a lot of responses.
Do you remember back in the day when things used to 10 or 20x? Are you old enough? Have you been in the NFT space long enough to remember when the upside was like 100x?
I have 100x is literally let's see where I had 100x basically. Actually right now I'm sitting on a 200x basically, which would be my board 8. So no, it's 100x.
I mean, love to see it. That used to be how it goes. Spencer, objectively speaking, you look at your portfolio, whether personal or your fund. What is what would be one NFT collection, the one NFT collection that you feel from here has the highest upside?
Like highest upside, as in highest expected value, I think has got to be little pudgies. I think that like if you look at them. I like the pudgy ecosystem a lot. Within the pudgy ecosystem, little pudgies are just like the multiple to the big pudgies continues to be low. People continue to buy into them. And I think like if you see big pudgies run from 6 to 12, I think that prices a lot of people out of entry to the ecosystem, and that will drive demand towards the little pudgies. So in a scenario where it goes from 6 to 12, I think we see little pudgies go from half an ETH to like 1.5.
Well, I like that. I own
6 to 12 is also a bold call. So if we're saying that pudgies are going to 12 ETH.
Yeah, I'm saying your better exposure to that is little pudgies.
Well, I got
Thanks,
two
Spencer.
little
Thank you.
Yeah, Signal's got a little pudgy. I got 2 little pudgies, so I just personally went from 6 to 12, if you catch my drift. Easy, do you hold NFTs right now that you think will go up in value?
I don't catch your drift. Even a little bit, Pio. What does that even begin to mean?
Google it. Easy.
Bitcoin.
Do you own any? No, it does not mean Bitcoin. It's not a
Does
Bitcoin.
it mean that you got an erection?
Easy. So I'm wondering, do you own any NFTs that you're like as an investment, I suppose, like that you're thinking will lead to upside? Sewer pass.
Yeah, I've been holding a tier 2 sewer pass. I think the summoning will end up sending this back up towards 3. We saw 3 back now down to 2.3. I do plan to pick up some Restless Toads for the Claire Silver snapshot. 2K supply, 0.26 floor. That seems like a pretty easy run up to 0.5, especially because there will be a piece from her in the Louvre, and that's currently sitting at a 44 ETH bid right now. So that's something that I think has like trickle down effects. I think 4 little pudgies as well. I'm in the same boat as Spencer. You just saw Luca Nets was in Arkansas, the same place that Walmart is headquartered out of. So I think that that's clearly showing that there's going to be some form of retail, especially after the announcement of Retail Monster. So those are like my 3 plays that I'm like comfortable holding. Everything else I'm getting in and out of.
Very nice. And I see we've got a lot of responses here from the audience. We got
hold on. I just want to clarify it real quick. Everyone gave me a funny look when I said 6 to 12. Literally go to Urban Dictionary and see what it says. It says you got an erection. That's literally what Urban Dictionary says. But I'm getting everyone's like, oh, wow, that was just inappropriate. I can't believe Nick said something like that. I can't believe Signal has to deal with listening to these people all the time. 6 to 12. Here's the definition from Urban Dictionary.
It's 9:16 a.m. Can we please wait till
this is where your penis goes from 6 to 12 o'clock, or in other words, you get a boner. That's what Urban Dictionary says. Spencer is cringing right now. Signal was cringing. Now she's like, oh, I guess Nick was right. Pio's just like, I can't believe he would say something like this.
Can we go back to shilling our bags instead of talking about penises at 9 a.m.?
I just want to explain to everybody what an erection is. Jeez, I mean, come on.
Signal, this is your job now. Anyway.
Oh my God. Okay, then in that case, I'm going to shill my bags. I think 2 to 4x this year, and I'm happily holding, is the Take Me to Your Dealer by Rust. I think my money is on Rust this year as an artist to make a breakout in the next 9 to 12 months. So very comfortable sitting on that.
Love it, Signal. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know, I'll take this Nick 1,000 times out of 1,000. This is 9 hours sleep, good mood Nick. I'll take this guy any day. He can talk about as many as erections as he wants. So anyway, we got crypto for NFT. That's Punk 3770. She naturally says crypto punks. I'll take that. I think that's a good response. FFV, loyal listener, said a kid called Beast and creeps. Terry Cherry, longtime community member. Shout out Terry Cherry. She said Utes NFT. Micah G, get the hell out of here with that. Miggy Mello. Oh, nope, wrong. No, he didn't give a response. 29 Cycles said the Toad and Claire Silver thing. I think that's the same reference that Easy said. Coin Up BTC said Creepy Club and Genuine Undead. Those are some goodies from this show before. Jen Pudge said Pudgy Penguins, duh. Snarls Barkley repping a Bored Ape said Captains. Godson said a kid called Beast. Well, look at that. We figured out how to get people to respond. Just ask them what NFT they want to bring attention to, and you'll get infinite responses. Nick, it looked like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, dude, invite the champion growth hacker to figure out how to make that question work. Whoa, bam. There you go.
Champion growth hacker, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I hope so.
So there you go. And also we learned a lot about what 6 to 12 means this morning. So I'm pretty excited about both these things. We learned about new potential investment opportunities. Nothing on the show is financial advice. And we also learned about erections. So that's pretty exciting.
There you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the show is sponsored today by us, the Nifty Daily Digest newsletter specifically. Sign up at thenifty.com. That's THENIFTY.com for our daily newsletter. We're about to read some updates from that daily newsletter. Anyway, today I know was supposed to be Kix's weather report day. Looks like he's a no-call, no-show.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure that if you did that and you worked at Walmart, like Easy talked about, your manager would give you a
fired you on the spot.
Yeah, this is like a
fired on the
fireable.
spot. Hey, everyone, tweet at Kix and let him know that he's fired.
He might be fired. He might be fired after this one. I guess, Signal, because you're such a pro's pro, can you step in and perform in the absence of Kix?
Someone has to do the weather. Jeez. Anyway. Thanks, Kix. Wednesday, the 8th of March, everyone. GM, we got total market volume coming in at 69 million. We like that. Blur at 44, OpenSea at 16. And according to The Block, the crypto publication, Blur took 84% of all Ethereum NFT transactions in March, coming in just at a whopping almost 90% of the market. Onto the leaders, you got Apes at 71, Mutants and Punks still holding. The biggest change, you got Moonbirds down at 6.0, Pudgies and Memeland Captain still holding around 5.5, Doodles edging towards 5 ETH, currently holding 5.1. Over the past 24 hours, Yuga Labs has announced the final score review for Toad Mode. That is now complete. And we also have the summoning next week. Sewer Pass is still holding around 2.37 ETH. Onto Veecon. These Veecon tickets were airdropped yesterday to Series 1 holders. Out of the gate, they traded for around 0.5 ETH, which is quite a significant drop from last year, where the tickets were around 2 ETH pre-reveal. This year's tickets are going to continue to evolve like last year's, and right now the floor on that is 0.27 ETH. Onto Azuki. Azuki have debuted the Museum of Dope Art in Hailumia. The museum will feature art from the Azuki community members, and artists and commissioners who are featured in the museum will get a Moda exhibitor's badge.
That music's getting real loud.
Beans are holding 1.35 ETH. And lastly, onto the PFPs over on Bitcoin, PO's favorite segment. DGods have announced that the team will soon have those 535 DGods resurrected from the dead and moved over to Bitcoin. And something for punk holders out there, Layerrxyz has introduced Portal Punks. This is a tool that allows punk owners to inscribe their punk onto Bitcoin for about $100 using a token gated process. So far, 5 punks have been inscribed, so you don't have to buy your punk from somebody else. Cough, Nick. Onto crypto, BTC still holding 22, ETH at 1,500. Solana taking a beating now, sub $20, holding 18.9. Overall trading volume in the market coming in quite a bit lower. Feels like we're in a bit of a holding pattern. So for now, we got a bit of gray clouds out there. And that is a 24-hour forecast. Back to you, folks.
Absolutely fantastic weather report. Thanks for stepping in on a dime signal. What a pro. Other updates from the Nifty Daily Digest, which is the daily newsletter I shouted out before. Sign up at thenifty.com. Getty Images announced a partnership with Candy Digital to produce an NFT collection to celebrate 1970s music and culture. So seeing more Web2 entities step into the NFT space, it's good to see. Obviously, that's not huge news, but it's something. 9gag, the founder of Memeland, the organization, has filed a U.S. trademark application for a potential PFP collection. So we'll that'll be interesting. I believe that we have 9gag CEO Ray booked to come on the show, so that'll be a lot of fun.
There's a bigger story with that he trademarked the term PFP, and a lot of people are like, "Yo, what? You can't this is an affront to everybody in the NFT space." Looking forward to confronting him on the show tomorrow. This is going to be a major confrontation. So if you weren't planning on tuning in tomorrow, this should be the deciding factor, because there's going to be a massive confrontation and it's going to be violent.
You're going to watch Nick confront the 9gag CEO. GQ Magazine entered the NFT space today after it announced how it planned to offer access to the GQ universe via exclusive content and parties. That's what all NFT traders usually do, is they go to GQ parties. Other than that, we got a Tornado Cash alternative launched on Optimism so that users can make their transactions privately. So interesting to see the kind of the efforts made to continue to develop tools with an emphasis on privacy. It also looks like the Cyber Stadium, our very own Kix, his collection or project or gaming entity, Cyber Stadium allow list winners list is out. And so if you tried to sign up from the newsletter or from another source, you can totally apparently check whether you're on that allow list. So definitely check it out. Anyway, those are the updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. Again, subscribe at thenifty.com. Sounds like we have a couple stories to dive into. Nick, was there anything you wanted to discuss from the Nifty Daily Digest or the weather report?
Yeah, how does someone do this? The Layerrxyz introduced portal. So my biggest issue with that one is like, why are all these people developing things that enable punks to do it rather than punks doing this?
Oh no, this is by
thing?
punks. This is for punks by punks.
Sorry, it's by a punk owner or by Larva Labs?
By punk owners.
By Yuga. Okay, so it's not by Yuga. It's done by the community. And that's the thing to me, which is like, okay, like I'm waiting on Yuga to drop something, especially considering that they just generated an absurd amount of money off of their Bitcoin ordinals. I'll be interested to see how this, whether or not they endorse this or what the deal is. But I like the idea. It seems like something I can just wait on, though. And so we'll stand by and see whether or not Yuga endorses this or whether or not they build their own product. And my guess is like there's no precedent for Yuga, having a bridge for one of their assets, basically. And that's like a pretty big strategic move for them to do. Obviously, if people start buying these other punks at a premium, then inevitably it'll lead to people wanting to mint it. Because it's the equivalent of an airdrop at that point in time. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that fares. Let's move on to some of the other things.
Before you move on, Nick, one thing that was interesting too was there was a period of time when people were burning, like there was a guy who burned his Bored Ape to inscribe it on Bitcoin, and Gordon responded to it. I remember on Twitter and was like, yeah, maybe like, or it was Gordon or Garga, I can't remember which, probably Garga. Responding was like, yeah, like, don't do that. Like, you don't have the utility anymore. We're not going to support so I don't know. I think like the bridging of assets, and it makes sense they're not supporting the bridging of assets. Like I think they see, and this is probably right, they see Bitcoin as being less of a profile picture collector's ecosystem and more of a
fine art
ecosystem. Yeah. I think it's like, they don't want their stuff on that chain. That makes sense.
I think it makes sense, frankly, from the art side. Like the There's a lot of compelling reasons. The user interface, user experience right now is kind of leaves a lot to be desired, because I don't even know if I get one of these ordinal wallets. Like, I don't even trust it at this point in time. Like, if I go download one of these products, I'm like, does this work? Is there bugs in this? Like, this got released pretty quickly. And it's one of those things that reminds me of like early Bitcoin, where people threw out the computer and the Bitcoin was on the computer. That's essentially how it worked. Like, you weren't like moving it around on different hard drives or anything else like that. People just kept it on the computer, and that was the way that worked. And a lot of people lost money as a result of that. It feels like we're in a similar place with ordinals, albeit a slightly improved location, in the fact that at least you have the keys for your wallet. So that's a good thing. But anyways, this is such a weird thing. And I just want to make sure that we don't phrase it as like this is a CryptoPunk sanctioned thing. When we say it that way, it's literally like someone from the community went and did this.
But the thing that I do like about it is that in the other CryptoPunk inscriptions on the Bitcoin blockchain are not licensed by the punks, right? And if you look at the IP agreement that the punks have, like, those are kind of like cowboy again. Like, I have a bunch of punks, and I didn't approve any of the ones that got inscribed on the Bitcoin blockchain. So because it is a portal where users can inscribe their own punks, the IP licensing, these are the first like officially IP licensed punks on the blockchain that I know of. And so that to me is a lot more interesting than the other punk derivatives that are unlicensed on the blockchain.
Well, Spencer, call Satoshi Nakamoto and tell him to take it off.
Yeah, I'm a DCMA him. You got to just wait.
My thing is like, look,
him.
I think it's so weird how people rush to do things. When they rush to do things, I almost feel like it's just for attention. The bottom line is like, unless there's an official release by like an organization, it's not official. It's not real. That's just how it works. You can't just go and inscribe your own thing and be like, yeah, that's it. It's like, no, like at the end of the day, there's got to be some sort of official touch involved.
I mean, I rushed to get into the NFT space, so call me a grifter. But
you bought official stuff. You didn't buy like knockoff Bored Ape, knockoff like whatever. You bought the actual Bored Apes from Yuga Labs. You didn't buy random fake Bored Apes. Anyway, so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Veecon 2023 tickets have been airdropped to VFriends Series 1 holders. They've begun trading, and there's speculation that the tickets were done by Xcopy. So last year, there was the same speculation. It was Xcopy or Beeple. Those were the two artists that were that people were speculating on, and it turned out to be Snowfro. And the funny thing is no one cared that it was Snowfro last year. But then Snowfro, when it was the Proof Grails dropped and it was Snowfro, everyone was like, oh my God, it's Snowfro. And it was the most valuable Proof Grails. So it's very interesting to see how, different artists get perceived at different times. It's like the Drake meme. Veecon ticket Snowfro, no way. Proof Grail Snowfro, oh yeah, let's go.
To be fair, I think when Gary did Snowfro, his perception in the market wasn't as strong as when Grails did it. There was quite a dramatic and fast, aggressive shift in that time period, and the expectations was that it was Xcopy or Beeple. So anyone who wasn't that, like literally, Snowfro is up there in that tier in terms of what he's doing for the space. And I think people's expectation were just, as you say, so out to lunch at the time that the price was always going to go down afterwards. Always.
We're still waiting on the airdrop, though, from last season's Veecon ticket. We were supposed to get it the last day, and it just never happened.
Yeah, apparently Snoop Dogg went off to do an album or something, a slightly more important stuff he had to do. So the airdrop is apparently coming later.
Okay.
Signal, I don't know. Signal, I don't know what you think is more important than my bags, but let me tell you, that is the most important thing. And I don't know what Snoop Dogg's off. Making some music, banging around, making some sounds. Who cares? Who cares?
Well, I was also going to add that Veecon used to be an interesting conference when I was a speaker at it, but then now I'm no longer a speaker at it, and I just feel like the quality of the content there has dropped significantly ever since then. And so I just wanted to shout that out and say, look, I don't know. I'm considering even boycotting this year just because this was an affront to sort of me as an individual. I had a lot of fun, and I thought the event was well organized. We did have some coffee issues, as Pio pointed out. There were significant coffee issues. There were some significant food issues as well. Yeah. I'm just bringing up some of the errors just to say, look, maybe that's an area for improvement. I haven't yet made a decision whether or not I'll be attending this year's Veecon or not, simply because of the sort of controversy that exists within there. You know, you got a missing airdrop, you got some questionable food decisions, you got some questionable coffee decisions, and then you make a questionable speaker decision, such as to not, like, I actually got a rejection. I sent an email to I didn't get any message, and then I reached out to the speaker contact that I knew there, and he was just like, yeah, we've decided to take it a different direction this year. And I'm like, wow. Okay.
A direction that doesn't include Nick O'Neill.
Okay, no, I understand. Whatever. I just feel like this is a bunch of nonsense.
I'm going to say this. To be fair, I think you, O'Shiny, and G Money did a really good talk last year, and especially like G Money was in this was his pre-Anon stage. So he was in he was like behind a screen, and sometimes he forgot he was there when like during the interview. And you and O'Shiny were very inclusive with him, and it would be great to have more of those kind of segments there. But I understand, it's going to be more businessy this year as well.
Nick got a big pop.
Businessy.
Oh, sorry. Nick got a big pop last year. He got a big pop when it was when he was doing his live set. So anyway, look, when it comes to,
we're going to be hosting an event outside of Veecon. I'm going to set up a stand. We're going to be hosting that at a key time when one of my enemies within this ecosystem is speaking. We're going to set up a stand. I think that's what we need to do. This is how we're going to do it. And I'm going to set up a competing conference, maybe even in my hotel room.
Well, there you go. We'll see if we're out there this year. Clemente, what do we need to know here surrounding Veecon? What's the most significant juice here?
Yeah, the big story here, like Signal said, it's trading at a fraction of the price that they were trading at last year as far as the Veecon tickets. And the other aspect to look at is basically for the last 6 months of 2022. Let me share my screen real quick. VFriends were essentially like a stable coin at like 5 ETH. And recently they have been dipping, and post snapshot that happened yesterday, they went from 5.3, a little bit of a run up to 5.3. And since then they've been steadily dipping. So I know we did buy, sell, send to zero with these, and Easy was wanting to sell these at 5. They have trended down since then. If you are bullish on VFriends, this could be potentially a good chance to get in at some point, but it is notable that they only have 1 year left of free Veecon tickets.
1 year left of free Veecon. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I have nothing to add to the Veecon other than we are on the hunt for venues now near the Veecon venue. So please let me know if you have any contacts there. Just let me know. We're going to be opening up CounterCon, and this is going to be look. Never offend me. You're going to learn your lesson, Gary V. You're going to learn your lesson. Everyone inside of your orbit circling. I was at a Knicks game, and he waved at me. This dude waved at me and is now saying, oh, you can't speak at my conference. So was that a fake wave? Was that what that was? Oh, hey, Nick, it's been a long time since I saw you. Was that a fake wave, Gary? Because that's what I feel like now. It feels like, look, you got some nice seats.
It was a fake wave, dude. I'm breaking down what you're putting out here, and it really feels like it might have been a fake wave.
That's a fake wave. That's like a defensive wave. That's like, yo, if I don't wave at Nick, this guy may actually take some steps to go counter the efforts that I'm making within the Web3 ecosystem. So it was a preventative step, proactive step to wave in my direction. Here's what's going to go down. I now counter that fake wave, and I'm going to raise you one with the counter conference. Okay. So that's what's going to go on right now. And you already saw it happen with Bahamas. I'm not even joking. There's an event that's going to be happening midday at Veecon in a nearby venue. I'm going to need some support here to help find a venue, to be completely honest. If you could find a bar or something like that, that would be great. Open bar, free drinks. I'm a fly in just for that, just for that event, just to stage a CounterCon and stage a counter revolution.
I mean, I love to hear it. So this is the pushback on Veecon. I'm sure Veecon will still probably exist even though this is happening. So moving on from Veecon and the Veecon tickets. Well, and actually one thing, like the fact that we're still waiting on that Snoop Dogg airdrop is pretty funny. Coffeezilla continuing to make the podcast rounds, was actually on the Joe Rogan podcast, one of the biggest podcasts in the world. I saw a clip from it, and Coffeezilla is still beating the drum against Logan Paul, because basically Logan Paul launched one NFT collection, rugged it immediately, then said, well, that was my friend's collection. And then a month later was like, so this is my collection. Dropped something called Crypto Zoo. I know Easy had traded in and out of it at one point. Said this is going to be a fun game where you can make money. Made, I think, 1.7 or $2 million off of it clean. It was the NFTs and a token. And then just never did anything for it. And Coffeezilla is like really being like beating the drum and being like, no, you have to. No, you have to. And Logan Paul's just like, I don't want to worry about this at all. Go ahead, Easy.
It gets even crazier. So there's this dev who's now doing exactly what Logan Paul set out and said he was going to release, and he's doing it in 30 days. It's already underway. They've done an IDO for the token already that's supposed to be like playing into it, and he's like 70% of the way through with like 15 days left to launch it. So he's like taking this whole narrative that Logan Paul's like, it was too much effort, we spent all this money, it was a huge overhaul, and this guy's like, I'm going to use Midjourney for the art, I'm going to do all the code, and I'm going to knock this out in 30 days just to prove that this is even worse than what Logan Paul's saying.
I mean, I didn't know that. That's hilarious. The way that Coffeezilla talks about it, it's almost like Coffeezilla doesn't acknowledge that these celebrities don't want to do a damn thing. Do you know what I mean? Like the expectation from Coffeezilla is so deep. And it's like, dude, Logan Paul doesn't want to lift a finger, bro. He doesn't want to do a damn thing. And I feel like, you know, when you think about the airdrop from Snoop Dogg, it's the same idea. Anyway, moving on. So Clemente, what do we got here? We're talking about Creature World here. Is that right?
Hold on one sec.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up something else before we dive in here. And don't worry, it's not about CounterCon, but that thing's happening. Eric is going to be doing some research today on venues in the neighboring surrounding area. It's coming right next to Lucas Oil Stadium. Did you know that was the name of the stadium in Indianapolis, Pio? I mean, that's just Lucas Oil. We're going to get sponsored by Lucas Oil. You know, that's what's coming.
But conferences in like random cities where literally nothing else is going on, like Indianapolis.
You know why?
Spring.
Easy.
Why? Tell me.
No,
tell me.
Because it's cheaper. That's a business decision, Easy. So it's easier than renting out Madison Square Garden. I'll tell you that much. So hosting it in a quote flyover city, as some people diminish Indianapolis, but Indianapolis is not also has great stuff there. They also have the Indy 500, if you're not familiar with that, and a lot of people go to that each year. The thing I was going to say before we dive into the Creature 9gag PFP situation that's going on here. Look, we're first calling out I go after Gary V first. Tomorrow there's going to be an epic confrontation with the CEO of 9gag. He didn't even know that he was walking into a firestorm, but we're coming for him. And the thing that I was going to say is, did you see the trademark filing for this? Anybody?
Yeah, I read the whole thing.
Basically, look, the first question is will this even pass? And the answer is no, because we're going to have our team file an opposition to it. Eric, I need you to go file an opposition as well. You're going to learn about legal stuff very quickly. And so we're going to be filing an opposition to this trademark to say that we think that this is unprecedented, it's unfounded, and we don't think that this is something that is protectable, because this is a term that's used universally within the ecosystem by multiple people. It's like trying to trademark water. Something I tried, which is how I learned the lesson of this. I want to be clear. I tried to trademark the word water years ago, and I was like, I'm going to make a water brand called water, and lost a few $100s in the process of doing it, because
how
it
did
turns
water
out,
do it then? WATR.
No. Actually, what it was, we tried to do agua.
Aqua.
No, it was either aqua or agua. I think we were going to do agua, the Spanish form of it. and we were going to do Agua branded water, and we were going to sell that. It turns out the USPTO will not allow you to trademark. You can't just translate it into another language and trademark it. The same thing here with PFP. I just don't think that you're going to be able to trademark it. It would be like trying to trademark NFT at this point in time, and you just can't. You can't do that. That said, appreciate him doing that. It is shocking that they invested this money at all by the legal team to go and do this, and then you also have to defend that. So I just don't know why they decided to do this. This just seems like an. What are you going to say, Spencer?
Nick? I think it's money well spent, because what did we just do? We just talked about it for 10 minutes, right? Do you think we would have talked about it this much if they hadn't done that? It's a news story. They're creating news moments, and I think that that's giga bullish.
Yes,
they got us.
yes,
they got
yes.
you specifically, Nick. They got you. They got you to sit here and talk about them for so long.
And this is what they said about the key, too. Do you remember that, Spencer? They said the key, their 1 ETH short bid, led to everyone talking about 9gag doing that.
Exactly.
And it actually caused the floor to run because they were like, oh, these guys got a war chest.
Exactly. You never fade.
Well, I think Spencer actually just had a brilliant take there and is now incentivizing us to go and do things which are just confrontational for no reason. And that's what
That's how
we're
you're
start
reading
doing.
it. That's how
when are we
you're.
going to trademark creeps?
Do you know what? This is what Kim Kardashian did for kimono before it became Skims. She tried to trademark her what do you call it? It's the underwear that you wear underneath that sort of tightens everything up.
Her Shapes competitor,
yeah,
whatever
her Shapes,
it was.
thank you. Her Shape underwear. And she wanted to call it kimono, and it hit global controversy. The Japanese government got involved, basically saying you can't do this. This put a spotlight, not even a spotlight, like a freaking torch on the collection. And guess what? She changes the name, and like 2 weeks later it comes out, it sells out globally everywhere. So it is also a marketing gimmick that, if executed well, can definitely be successful, because they obviously knew they were never going to be able to get that word for their line. So you're right, 9gag could be doing the same thing.
Sounds like I took the bait, and I fell for the trap, Ray. Okay, well, I'd like to still confront him tomorrow to really get to the bottom of this. So there will be a deep confrontation, and I just want everyone who's listening to know that that's what's going to go down. But for now, based on Spencer's take, it sounds like I did fall for the trap and I took the bait. So let's move on to the next subject. Sorry to interrupt you there. So let's go back to the previous subject, Clemente.
Yeah, so the big story here, and the only notable aspect of it is Creature World, or Danny Cole, minted these crowds. It was an open edition. They minted 38,000 of them at 0.029 ETH each. So they made, I don't know how much of it they made, but it brought in 1,100 ETH. And within a few days of it, it was already at 30% of the mint price, so sub 0.01 ETH. And yesterday they announced that the burn mechanic would be announced and would be coming up soon, and you would need multiple to be able to participate. That caused a quick little 2x in price. It's currently at almost a 0.02 ETH floor. But basically everyone from the Creature World community is saying, hey, what about us? Like, what the hell is going on here? Why is this all of a sudden, all this attention is going towards this open edition, and we haven't gotten anything in the last few months? They're currently sitting at a 0.2 ETH floor, which is not bad. But it was notable. I was looking at it yesterday that Creature World brought in $8.5 million in royalties. So it does, one of the things I was thinking about, and that might be notable to kind of think about is, what'd you say?
It's just deserved. 8.5 million, dude. It's just art, man. That's what artists deserve. Keep going, Clemente. Sorry.
So, I mean, it goes to show, like, with these artist-led collections, and that are more art-driven, I think this idea of expectation is really important, and balancing speculation and expectation is an interesting kind of dynamic and balance. And it is interesting seeing all of a sudden all this attention and work going into this open edition when Creature World was kind of struggling for a little while.
Clemente, you gave a nice political overview, like a politically sensitive overview there. Diplomatic would be the correct way of saying it there, Pio. But let me give you a less diplomatic thing. Look, Danny Cole gave me his number at an event, sent him a text message. He never replied to me. Danny, where you at? Not responding to my texts? Okay, dude, I see you. This is a scam. This is a rug. You got $8 million that came in. Oh, is that what happened? You got $8 million, just put it in your pocket? Are you flying first class now? Is that the deal? You're just flying first class everywhere? Maybe you're even flying private. With $8 million, you could definitely expense that and go on a nice ride to wherever you are to do an art installation somewhere. But it's all good. You've been featured in MoMA. So, you know, that means that it's a good thing. But like, what's going on? Where's the money? Where did the money go? We need to get to the bottom of this. Is this another Ponzi scheme similar to the ones that we've seen across crypto? Is it where the money comes in, it just keeps coming in, but it never goes out? When do I get my money back? See, I ended up selling my Creature World as a result of this, as a result of this. And I felt taken advantage of. I felt like exploited with my own money, my hard-earned money went in there. I worked hard to hold on to those Bored Apes.
I think you're right. I think it's kind of like Mount Gox, you know, Celsius, BlockFi, FTX, Creature World. That's kind of the order.
Creature World is at that level. And I'm just saying, Danny, watch out, bro. We see you just taking money and extracting money from the ecosystem. I'm just saying, man, you know, next time respond to my text.
There you go. Bunny's got his hand raised. Also, some commenters, Herbivore said, don't fuck with 9-hour Nick. I think 9-hour Nick is really, that's a high octane individual for sure. Bunny, what are your thoughts? You got your hand raised.
Yeah, I thought the utility for Creature World was that Shaq changed his PFP for a little bit.
But Bunny coming through with a little bit of heat. I always thought
him. Oh, Danny, what you gonna say about that, buddy?
I owned Creature World for a period of time.
He's afraid, by the way. Sorry, I'm looking at this.
No, I'm fine. Because you're not talking about Miladies. Creature World's cool.
I bought Creature World way back when, made money on it. It went up to 5 Ethereum, which was like a gnarly run with Ethereum at like $3,500 to $4,400. Honestly, look, to me, that artwork on Creature World is like some of the most original. Like that is Danny's original character. Yes, Nick, please, with the shitting on a MoMA artist, like it is good artwork and it's an original character. I always thought it was like the best profile picture, like fine art thing.
I didn't shit on the art.
I thought you were getting ready to, buddy.
No, I said it is. I acknowledged it. I think the art's great. I owned this. I bought it. I was an active participant. There was a thing where you had to collaborate with other people on the team, and I hopped in the Discord, collaborated with people. I managed the wallet.
I remember
where all the NFTs came, and then I ended up sending back everything to people. I was the trusted source within the collaborative ecosystem, and I thought it was interesting. And at the end of it, we just got a Matic NFT that was all we got. That was the end of it. That was the whole thing. But everyone that was holding on to it was waiting on like some huge thing for people that pulled off the collaboration. And we just got a picture of a playground.
I know. It was still $1,000 airdrop if you sold it immediately. I do remember that figure, $1,000. What I would say is that when you buy an artist's NFT of any sort, what you're unless they're like really savvy and gifted when it comes to like maneuvering in the NFT space and playing with NFT related dynamics or mechanics, I should say, you're banking on the artist progressing in the traditional art world. And we actually have a case in point right now, a little case study on it, which is Claire Silver getting into the Louvre, right? And so that's what you're actually banking on. You're just buying an art piece by an artist and you're banking that they're going to progress in the traditional art world, which guess what is insanely hard to do. However, Danny's already made a lot of progress in that. I wouldn't put it past him to continue, but you got to kind of wait for that to happen. You have to wait for him to get into, whatever, the Met, wherever. I don't know. Node, you had your hand raised for a moment. Something to add on this before we move on?
Yeah, I was just going to say the only problem is when you've got like a 10,000 supply plus an open edition supply that's super high, it makes it a little bit more challenging on the dilution aspect. And also a quick note that NFT Nick forgot to mention that is actually how we met, was through that collaboration with Danny Cole. I sent him. Yeah, you totally forgot. That's where I met you. I sent you my Danny Cole NFT, and you custodied it for me, and then you sent it all back. We participated in that together.
I didn't realize that you were a part of that, but one thing to add for what you're saying is, look, I agree with Pio Danny's art is cool. Like I like his art.
It's original, which is important in NFTs.
I will say too, Danny, Creature World merch is like top tier merch in the NFT space. The sweater with the eyes, oof, that goes hard.
And the thing for me, which I think like Danny had an opportunity. Here were a couple of things, and I'm gonna be honest for a second. Danny did something. He was one of the first sort of artists to take on the PFP side in a way that was like, oh, this is a traditional artist that was featured in MoMA to be doing a PFP, and that was really compelling for people. The reality is the market doesn't value that, like over the long term. And what he ran into, the first controversy or issue that he ran into right out the gate was, I can see Spencer walking around with that headgear in the streets right now. But in terms of but everything else, I guess, is cool. So in terms of the thing, sorry, we're looking at on screen some of the merch, and some of it's pretty hilarious. It's like a monkey head mask, basically. I get to just look like one walking around. So the thing with that drop was he ran into some controversy, and he was one of the people that had to take on that was like, yo, dude, no, you're running a PFP project and people expect things with that. And there was a lot of, that was like within like a month, I feel like, of the drop. There was a lot of conversation about that when it originally happened. And he was taking on heat for going around and doing art installations, because people were like, well, this isn't why we bought into this. We thought that this was a PFP project. The market's expectations of what a PFP delivers versus what an artist delivers is completely disconnected. And what Danny, frankly, I believe, missed the opportunity to do was to really just make an art project. And I look at a lot of other artists that have just done drops, made money, and there was no expectation that they're going to do anything else associated with it. But when you drop a huge supply associated with that, it just inevitably has some sort of dilutive impact. And we already saw that play out with Nifty Gateway. Open editions in particular just did not fare well. It just has not done well. There's rare instances where it has. I think X Copy is the only one that like has really had any upward trajectory with the price action sustained. And I think it's just like he made the difficult decision, and it may bite him in the ass. Although you could say, did it really bite him in the ass? He's made millions of dollars, but he also has a team. He has a studio. He has all this other stuff. So I don't know. Time will tell how, the art market reflects on this sort of thing. Even Damien Hirst's post-burn NFTs aren't doing great. I mean, I look at I think right now the value of it is maybe 5K, 4K, something like that. The physicals I saw on Artsy try to sell for 10K. But
it's actually $5,600 on OpenSea,
which I guess is decent. But it had historical context before, because it is Damien Hirst and it's his first NFT. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happened. I give Danny a hard time, halfway jokingly, because he didn't text me. Although, dude, never come at me. Never always reply to my text, even though I don't respond to texts. But in all honesty, he did stick his neck out there, and he has, attempted to do some things that other people were unwilling to do in the art space, and it hasn't been reflected incredibly positively on a price action standpoint. So that's where we're at today.
Love the breakdown, Nick. Look, we're going to go to Node in a minute. Speaking of art, we're actually going to have Signal talk a little bit about the artist spotlight that she did with Young and Sick. Ladies and gentlemen, Artist Spotlight is a new feature, or segment, I should say, that is designed to spotlight artists, right? To show some of the most talented artists in the space that maybe, could use a little bit more publicity than they're getting. A lot of times in the NFT space, 3 or 4 artists get all the shine. So we want to make sure that we, shed some light on some really talented artists. It's not a sponsored spot. The artists don't pay for it. It's just something that we do to show some love for artists. So we have the Young and Sick, or we're going to pin the Young and Sick, spotlight to the top of this page. But Signal, please take it away.
Yeah, we got some great clips coming this week and today dropping and on Friday with artist Young and Sick and his manager Aaron. If you guys were around in 2021, you would know obviously that was the year of the PFP, and these guys they came out with an amazing collection. You have to go and have a look at it. It was called The Last Supper, and you have essentially Bored Ape in the middle, and then all the guests were the PFP collections of 2021. And looking back on that piece, it really reminds you of like who's around, who's not around this year. This was a really successful edition. And then the guys went and did it again last year, where they created like and illustrated the memorabilia of all the events, news, drama, everything that's been happening in the space last year. You've got some great Easter eggs in there, everything from the major story headlines of FTX, Celsius, to the movers and shakers of the space. You've got G Money in there, even got Pio and Nick hidden somewhere in there. You've got Frank D. Gods, like tons, like everything that happened that year is in this piece. And what they did, these guys did an open edition. If you have 3 of these pieces, you can burn it, and then you can get the physical piece for it. This is actually something I'm thinking of getting for myself, just so you have like a memorabilia of the last couple of years. You've got 2 more clips coming out, one today, one on Friday, but you definitely need to check out Young and Sick and Aaron. They are they're a duo that are really need to be in the spotlight for this year.
Fantastic. Thank you, Signal. Shout out to Young and Sick. Really badass artist. Check out the artist spotlight, ladies and gentlemen. Clemente, so what do we got now? We're talking about the state of the art market with Node, yeah?
Absolutely.
All right, Node, what's going on, buddy?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's start things off with the rather large sales. And we got to give a shout out to Jake Fried, who is a longtime listener. He's in the audience. He had a massive sale for 100 ETH for a piece called the Blank Page. Can anybody guess? Anybody guess who might have bought it?
Vince Van Dough.
You got it. And can you guess what platform that was on?
Vince Van Dough's platform.
That's right, baby. We love Vincent Van Dough. He's single-handedly supporting the art market. Check out Jake Fried's piece. It's amazing. Shout out to Jake. I see you there with the fist pumps in the audience. Man, just a huge, huge sale. We also had a couple large Fidenza sales, 350 ETH Fidenza sale. That was just like a regular old sale. And then we had another Fidenza sale sold at Christie's that sold for 440K. What was cool about the Christie's auction, that was actually last Tuesday, was a lot of the other pieces that sold at that auction, like Picasso's and others, they sold below their estimate, but the Fidenza sold above its estimate. So pretty cool to see that. I mean, again, the Picasso still sold for like millions. It was not a failure by any means.
Picasso's out, man. Picasso's fucking last year, bro.
Picasso's out. Fidenza's all in, baby. Moving on to some of the blue chips. What I talked about last week, Fidenzas, ringers, squiggles, not a lot of movement there. So I wanted to touch a little bit on some of my favorite collections that I always talk about, which are those mid-tier Gen Art blue chips on art blocks. So we got Meridians at an 8.8 ETH floor. Those are usually hovering around 10 ETH. Memories of Chi Lin down to about a 5 ETH floor. Those used to be more recently around 6 to 7 ETH. Anti-Cyclone at 6.6 ETH. That was over 10 a couple months ago. So what I have my eye on, to be honest, right now, the meta continues to be AI art. That's all the hot stuff. Generative AI art, photography AI art, a lot of cool stuff coming out there. That's where all the attention is. Claire Silver obviously getting into the Louvre is a massive deal. But people are kind of sleeping a little bit on these art blocks curated pieces. And so what I have my eye on, I'm starting to throw out some bids over there. Because I think they're bleeding a little bit. I think that the attention's elsewhere, so that's where I've got my eye. Moving on to what I'm excited about, what's coming up. So we got William Mapon, who I just talked about, Anti-Cyclone. William Mapon has a drop coming out on March 10th on tonic.xyz. That's tonic.xyz. It's called Strands of Solitude. Looks pretty cool. May want to check that one out. Another thing that I'm excited about is Escher, ESCHER. That is going to launch at the end of the month, and that's going to be the go-to marketplace for edition work. So that's coming from Andy and the team from Tessera or Fractional.art, if you're familiar with them. It seems like a very needed thing in the space, right? Like if you try and find editions, if you try and find an artist's work, it's like on OpenSea. It's spread across all sorts of random collections. It's like going on a treasure hunt. And so Escher is trying to launch a go-to marketplace for editions. They dropped a free open edition that you should check out. I minted 5 just because why not? And that's on Escher if you check out their Twitter there. Finally, last thing that I'm excited about is the the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, the LACMA, which has been featured a lot lately with causes, donation, and all sorts of stuff there. They are partnering with a company called Cactoid Labs, which I had not heard of before. But they're like a tech company that bridges Web3 and museums to showcase 5 fantastic artists. Some of them you have definitely heard of. You got Jen Stark, who I know Spencer's a fan of. We got Emily Shia, who is my favorite artist. Monica Rizzoli, who did Fragments of an Infinite Field. That drop is today, actually. And so check that one out. You can look up Cactoid Labs on Twitter. Or check out some of those artists. You can see that drop there. So that is all for this week. One last final plug. I've got OSF coming on Node Mode this Friday, so you're not going to want to miss that one. Back to you guys in the studio.
No, you also booked DC Investor. And did I see that right? You booked Ledger from Up Only for that show?
Bro, you're giving away all my... Dude, this is going to be the most stacked month on Node Mode ever. Yes, I got Ledger Stat. I have a double header coming up next week, back to back. 1 hour to the next Node Modes next week. Ledger is one of those. And then in 2 weeks, I got DC coming on. So I'm kind of like reaching my peak here. I don't know what we're going to do after the month of March, but we'll figure it out.
How'd you get Ledger? You just DM'd him?
Just DM the guy, dude. Super nice. Super
Wow.
nice.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
he's
crazy.
been messaging me actually.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm sure he has, Nick. I'm sure he has. Good for you.
Let's go.
Well, he said, let's meet up. I was like, how about you just come on the show?
Well, there you go. Look, I want to close out today. We got Wi-Fi boys again. Easy's Wi-Fi's acting up. But anyway, I want to hear from Spencer and Easy on just like the current state of the NFT market. Like at the end of the day, it's interesting to see the kind of the waves of interest. And I feel like earlier this week, there was a little bit more interest than there is today. Like Spencer, a lot of people are talking about the Fed, continuing to be pretty aggressive. A lot of people are saying that, like, I saw this guy that I follow, Ram. He's actually a really good follow from like a finance perspective. He's saying that the markets and the Fed have been playing a game of chicken, and now the markets are just like kind of submitting. They say don't fight the Fed. I don't know. What do you think the rest of maybe H1 2023 looks like here? How are you playing it as someone, having a fund and operating from an institutional capital standpoint? Then I definitely want to hear from Easy's perspective as a trader too.
I think that, like, look, here's the thing is this bear market, like everyone in crypto wants to think it's over like tomorrow or, just light at the end of the tunnel. Like it's not gonna be over for a while. I think the Fed's been pretty clear about that. Like, where does that leave us though? NFTs historically have done really well when ETH is range bound, and ETH, even in the headwinds that have happened the last couple of days, like we went from 1700 to 16 to 15, 50 or whatever. Like that's pretty range bound. Like if ETH stays in this range, I think we have a pretty good environment for existing collections for a period of time. But there are like a couple of potential giga nukes on the horizon. So like I wouldn't be too comfortable sitting in full exposure right now. Like you got to see, there could be housing issues. There could be issues with Circle. There could be issues with Binance. We don't know. Like, do I think any individual one of those are going to happen? Meh. But like, is there a good potential that we'll have at least one big shit the bed moment in crypto? Like, I think it's very likely in the next year or so that like we'll have another, maybe not FTX level, but probably close, right? And so I don't know. I've been a net seller of NFTs for a couple of months now. I think, take profits where you can in this market. The other thing that I think is going on in the NFT market is there's just not that much being worked on right now that like I know is coming out imminently. It's like, which is a little bit weird. I feel like we're used to a market that there's like new stuff around the corner all the time. And I just don't think that's the case in today's market with NFTs. It's like there's just like there are people who are being contrarian and waiting for like a Q1 of this year, but like there's way fewer big projects that are looking to launch. I think a lot of people working on a lot of the cool stuff are waiting till the next bull market, and so it's just there aren't as many catalysts as you'd think in the mid to near future, and that's the biggest concerning thing to me. But I don't know. It's just everything's been holding up better than one might expect. I think there's a lot of Yuga stuff going on that'll carry us for a while, but I'm excited in general. I think the caliber of the people that have stuck around is really, really high, and we've been filtering out a lot of the grifters in the space. So as long as that trend continues, I'm just giga bullish in the next 2-year time horizon.
Nick, it looks like you wanted to say something.
I just want to say ditto.
Okay, easy. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Dune for a little bit yesterday, trying to go through like the metrics. Volume's actually back to like start of January lows at the moment. So it's like the blur euphoria has certainly weaned off. But what was interesting to me was that unique wallets was actually up. And over the last 2.5 weeks has been trending up. So that was a really interesting statistic. And I've been trying to chase down why, because it doesn't feel like there's more people, but it seems like there was like almost more interest in like the lower end of the market, where like you look at volume, it's certainly lower, but there's still plays every single day that go from like 0.02 to 0.03 all the way up to 0.1. And that's like the market that it seems like. It's people who are just hyper active on what just pops up, gets volume, and get in and out. Like it's a game of hot potato right now. And yet you still have quality projects holding certain floor prices. But I mean, JPow's comments yesterday, I think it was yesterday, about how interest rates are only going to go up here is like, in my opinion, we're going to see a 50 BPS hike next Fed meeting. That's going to be ugly, you know. And we actually saw crypto sell relatively hard on the news for it to rebound a little bit. But even now you look and like we're still in this weird range across the board. If we break to the low side, then I'll be looking to probably get more exposure to crypto again in general. But like my focus largely on like new things is just tracking like the gaming market across the board, because we've seen like last month was the highest month for Polygon users, and that's where there is an existing game market right now. And some of these games coming out with statistics have 50, 60,000 active wallets a week playing these games. And to me, that's like a win. So I'm kind of like shifting this focus as we see more big name players come out. We just had a huge announcement from TSM, a popular streaming group team, partnering with AVAX. So like AVAX continues to show dominance in like that space and partnerships. So there's a few like coins I'm starting to watch, and that's like a bigger interest to me to just.
All right, great analysis there. We got Nucci on stage. Hasn't been on the show in a while. Nucci, you're up early. What prompted you come on and raise your hand?
Yeah, I was listening to Easy, and I have a theory about the new wallets. Basically, I think there's like a running theory that there's a potential the next Blur airdrop could reward basically smaller wallets higher than like the top wallets, if that makes sense. So instead of giving the higher, they'd rather reward the masses. They're still going to reward the top wallets with a ton of Blur. But if you have any baseline activity, the theory might go that you'll be rewarded more than if you'd spent the entire time churning on that single wallet, if that makes sense. And if that's the case, then it would make sense to get like baseline activity on as many wallets as you can, in hopes that you'll make maybe 500 to 1,000 on the small wallets versus a ton of money on one giant wallet. And obviously, this is just a theory. No one knows how they're going to reward them, but that's something that I think people have been thinking about. And I was just curious if any, like, obviously this is all speculation, but that could be one reason maybe wallets are going up.
Spencer, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I kind of had this theory for a while too, that was going to be the case in the first airdrop, and it super did not play out that way. It's just like worth noting. So yeah, I don't know. I think you got to look, like, it definitely is top heavy in that, like, you get the 2.5x for being in the top 10, and that's like a huge impact. It's also like I had some wallets where I placed really small bids on the theory of like, oh, at least they'll give me 1 to 2 to 5 like Blur token, and it just claiming and then approving and selling on a wallet like that tended to be more expensive than the airdrop that you got. So like maybe the optimal like bid amount is on the 1 ETH, but I don't know that I think that this is really what's going on, because as someone who's really active, like if you are a true whale, like going for just making a lot of wallets is not the right approach to the Blur airdrop. You should be like concentrating in like until like every time I had one wallet in the top 10 was when I started just use another wallet. Right. And so like there were periods of time in the last Blur airdrop where I had like 4 of the top 10 wallets for me. But like there's no reason, unless you already have one in the top 10, to not concentrate in one wallet because of the multiples. Like that's just way more impactful.
Well, we'll have to see how it plays out. I think I saw people speculating that it's going to be a while before the next Blur airdrop actually hits the wallets. If anything, that might be, you can perceive that as a good thing, that Blur is going to be here for the long term. Anyway, Clemente, anything else before we wrap? Am I missing any segments or anything? Or are we good to go?
The only thing to note is that yesterday, ETH Porsche did a surprise airdrop to not their current holders, but their minters. So it doesn't matter if you're still holding it. If you just happen to mint this thing, even mint and sell within 1 minute of you doing that, you received an airdrop yesterday that's currently holding up at a floor of 0.16 ETH. People were pretty shook by it and were like, hey, dude, I bought this thing at 2 ETH a week later and I'm not getting anything. So just an interesting thing to note. And monitor as Porsche continues to figure out their footing a little bit in the Web3 space.
It's interesting. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, it's interesting. This is like a recurring theme on today's show is both Creature World and Porsche doing things that, and, I think doing things that don't reward the existing holders. Like, I think take note, if you're thinking about building a product, if you're in the audience listening, thinking, how do I build the thing? People like things that reward their existing holders a lot. And this felt like the Porsche feels like an even bigger like mess up, because it's not even like they were facing the trade-off between generating revenue and serving it that way. The only thing that I would see, and you see this too, there was actually someone who was tweeting out yesterday on Bitcoin ordinals for Yuga Labs. There is, it looks like potentially an inscription for people who bid even if they didn't win, like a blank inscription. And so there have been a lot of times in history where like you do a Dutch auction, you reward everyone who bids as an incentivization mechanism for future Dutch auctions for people to be like, oh my God, like you got to bid. So like, I think if you look at what is Porsche doing here, the sort of cynical view is they're making it so that in the future you want to mint even like just blindly anything they put out. But I think the mistake here is even if they wanted to do that, maybe you airdrop some, but not all. Like you got to reward the holders at the end of the day, because the biggest driver of price in a second collection is price of a primary collection. It just feels obvious.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. There's been a couple of other instances in the history of the NFT market that we have seen airdrops and rewards go to minters versus current holders. Can't really think of like monster success stories. But anyway, thanks to all the speakers. That's our show. We run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. Shout out to everyone. Make sure you follow everyone. Spencer, Signal, Easy, Bunny, Node, Nucci, Clemente, Nick, everybody on the show. We will be back tomorrow. We appreciate everybody.